Most people want a stronger life. They want more clarity, more discipline, more confidence, more control, but very few are willing to practice the one habit that creates all four. They avoid sitting with themselves in silence, because silence is uncomfortable when your mind is undisciplined. The moment everything becomes quiet, many people immediately reach for noise, a phone, a conversation, music, notifications, anything to avoid hearing their own thoughts clearly. But Stoicism teaches that the person who cannot sit alone with their own mind will always struggle to lead their own life. Marcus Aurelius spent time writing thoughts not because he lacked responsibility, but because he understood that self-observation creates inner order. He ruled an empire, yet still knew that the hardest thing to govern was the mind itself. And that remains true now. You may not lead an empire, but you are responsible for your attention, your habits, your choices, and your direction. And many people lose that responsibility slowly because they are mentally scattered. Too much talking, too much explaining, too much reacting, too much comparison, and not enough reflection. The Stoics believed silence reveals where your inner life actually stands. Because when the outside becomes quiet, what remains? Restlessness, anxiety, impulses, unfinished thoughts, emotional clutter. That is where real work begins. Not when life becomes perfect, but when you notice what inside you still needs discipline. This is why focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is foundational. Most people spend enormous energy monitoring others. Who is doing better? Who said what? Who ignored them? Who is ahead? Who is behind? And all of that attention slowly drains power from where it should be invested. Yourself. Every hour spent obsessing over other people is an hour removed from building your own strength. Stoicism asks a harder question. What are you avoiding in yourself by staying distracted by others? That question changes everything, because often the mind chooses outside noise to avoid inner responsibility. It is easier to discuss others than confront habits, easier to judge than improve, easier to speak than build. But nothing changes until attention returns inward. And once it does, discipline becomes possible. You begin noticing patterns. You notice how often emotion wants immediate speech, how often ego wants explanation, how often insecurity wants validation. And then silence becomes training. You learn not to answer every impulse. Not every thought deserves expression. Not every frustration deserves speech. Sometimes silence protects dignity better than argument. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks badly of you, you should first ask whether what they said contains truth. That alone separates Stoic thinking from ordinary reaction. Because most people defend instantly, Stoicism pauses. It examines, it asks, is correction needed or is calm stronger? That pause changes relationships, decisions, and self-respect. And here is what many people discover when they practice this. The less they react, the clearer life becomes, because reaction often creates unnecessary complexity. A message ruins your mood. A comment shifts your focus. A misunderstanding steals your day, but only because access was granted. Stoicism teaches selective access. Not every event deserves emotional admission. That does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming intentional. And intentional people move differently. They speak less carelessly. They plan more privately. They stop announcing every ambition because they understand that words can weaken momentum when used too early. A goal spoken repeatedly can create satisfaction before effort begins. That is dangerous, because feeling productive is not the same as being productive. The Stoics respected action more than appearance. That is why quiet consistency often beats visible intensity. You do not need everyone to know your next move. You need enough discipline to complete it. And silence helps preserve that discipline. Because silence reduces outside interference. The fewer opinions attached to your early process, the stronger your own judgment becomes. This matters especially now because modern life rewards exposure, but exposure often weakens depth. Many people talk more than they build, show more than they strengthen, explain more than they execute, and then wonder why clarity never arrives. Clarity arrives when noise leaves. Seneca warned that too much crowd thinking weakens independent judgment. That applies directly today. Too many voices create hesitation. Too many opinions create confusion. Too much external influence weakens internal direction. That is why focused people often become quieter, not because they have less to say, but because they understand where speech belongs and where silence builds more. When you focus on yourself deeply enough, comparison loses force. You stop measuring progress emotionally. You begin measuring by consistency, and consistency changes identity, because eventually discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes normal, and when that happens, external noise becomes less persuasive. You no longer need constant recognition. You no longer need immediate proof. You understand that quiet progress compounds. This is why some of the strongest people appear calm. They are internally occupied. Their attention belongs to building, not performing, not reacting, not explaining, just building. If this mindset speaks to you, like and subscribe for more content on Stoicism, self-mastery, and mental clarity, and ask yourself honestly, how much stronger would your life become if your attention finally returned fully to yourself?